Okay, so I'm here with Mr. Gambardella, who's here to talk about his upcoming philosophy class, and I'm here to ask him a few questions. So, what is the purpose of this philosophy class?
Okay, the short answer to this, the easiest way I can answer this would be the purpose of philosophy in general is to try and find the solutions that aren't necessarily found in math or science. So things that can't really be like quantified, like purpose or why we do certain things or knowledge. What are those things? And we just kind of go in depth on a lot of like difficult questions that will arise throughout a person's life.
And now, what impact would you hope that this class has on your students?
Personally, I took philosophy my senior year here at West Haven High School with the wonderful Mrs. Bruno, number one teacher at West Haven High School. And I will say, I honestly don't think I would be sitting in this chair right now doing this interview if I didn't take this philosophy class. It kind of gave me the tools, I don't want to say to help mature, but it gave me the tools to kind of shape what my idea, it's like the conduit between the idea of what I want it to be and my actions that are going to bring me to that idea. It helps in learning what some of these other major famous philosophers think because they spent their entire lives thinking about these things.
Right.
So it does help in defining what does it mean to be happy? What does it mean to be successful? And how do you attain that?
So given that philosophy is such a big subject, it encompasses all of the world, how do you plan to go about teaching that?
So it is a full year course. So it will be in phases. And the very beginning is, I hesitate to call it boring, but we will be studying some of the major philosophical thoughts throughout time, just mostly Western philosophy. And then we will use those methods and ideas to help us tackle some of the overarching questions that are also going to be in the class. And it is broken up into different sections. So we'll be talking about metaphysics. How do you know what's real and what's not real?
You mentioned Western philosophy back then. Will there be any consideration or care given to Eastern philosophical ideas? Yeah.
Yes. So it will be, I would say it's a good 60-40 split between Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy. It's just there are a lot of similarities and there are a lot of differences. Yeah. And we will be going in depth for what are those similarities and what are those differences.
That's a good thing too, because a lot of philosophy classes, they tend to really focus only on the Western part of the world, and it's very good to get the other side too. Leads to a lot of more diverse opinions too.
Yeah. I'm a big Confucius fan, so I'm going to try my hard to pepper that in there as much as I can.
And now, my final question is, how has philosophy, how has that impacted your life specifically?
So, to speak candidly, I grew up in West Haven my whole life. My default emotion for a lot of things is anger, right? So if somebody passes away in my family, I get angry. Mm-hmm. If somebody cuts me off in the street, I get angry. If somebody says something to me that I don't like, I get angry. If somebody steps in my shoes, I get angry, right? Those things, growing up, you have to ask yourself, right? Do you want to be an angry person? And 10 out of 10 people are going to say no.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then how are there angry people? All right, so that's with philosophy, is it does help you self-reflect and you say, do I want to be like this? And it's either yes or no. And if the answer is no, then the next logical question would be, well, what do I do to try and stop this from happening? And for me personally, philosophy is what helped me kind of get a hold of my emotional state. Right. I don't know. It is kind of a hard thing to try and describe, but It does give you the tools to just be in control of your thought process, be in control of your emotions, not necessarily shutting off emotions, it's just how do you manage these things? Right. And philosophy it's given me a lot of great tools to shape my own mentality to fit the image that I want of myself.
Right. And as high schoolers, most of us are pretty bad at that anyway.
Yes.
So there's another plus to take in this class.
Which is why it's a perfect time to take it.
Right.
This is it was a very odd time for me. It was a very trying time, I should say. But philosophy did give me the tools to try and, work through some of the issues that I had and things like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you for your time here.
Thank you.
Very interesting conversation.
Thank you. Take philosophy, students.